and thanks for being here. We're live. It's Wealth Building Wednesdays with Eva, and today I'm really excited to share with you my process of how I actually got into my rich social worker journey. So what we usually do at the start of each broadcast is give people a little bit of time to show up. So that's what we're going to do now. As soon as you get in the room, let me know that you're here. Let me know where you're calling in from or where you're listening in from. And you can send a text so that I can see you and see that you're here. And the other thing is that you would know if you're watching the rebroadcast that whether or not you are here when we start, you'll be able to access the broadcast afterwards. So whether you're here live or whether you're listening to the recording, I'm really grateful and happy to have you here and listening. At the moment, I'm in the US. Normally, I'm in Jamaica, as many of you know, where I lived for the last 10 years. Crazy. And this rich social worker journey started in Jamaica. I don't know that it would have started if I hadn't been in Jamaica. So I'm eager to share with you what I've learned over the years and how you can start your own rich social worker journey as well. I tried out a new software this evening. So I'm gonna I'm gonna share my screen in a minute, and I'm gonna ask you to just let me know whether or not you can see my screen because that's gonna be important for the recording as well. So I want to make sure that you see the screen and you see what the information that I'm sharing. It never seems to fail that even though you may do some tests beforehand, and of course we run tests and try to make sure that everything is going to run well, there always seems to be some sort of technical difficulties. So that's okay. The show must go on, as they say, and we're just gonna make sure, hopefully, make sure that if you cannot see my screen, we'll do some troubleshooting and try to make sure you can see it for the next time around. So we're just gonna give people a few more minutes to show up. Like I said, we don't want to get started because there's a lot of great information, and I don't want to leave anyone out if in fact they're on their way. So again, if you're calling in from somewhere, it's great. Let me know where you're calling in from, and happy to have you. Happy to have you on the Social Workers Building Wealth Building Wednesday Google Hangout. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Like I said, I'm just going to share my screen. Having technical difficulties. One second. Let's see if I can work it out. All right. Here we go. Let's see. You should be seeing. Let me see. Let me start this. You should be seeing. I'm going to share my screen. And you should be seeing a picture of me on the side. Let's see. You should be seeing a picture of me with the words, "The Path to Rich Social Work Domination." Yes? No? You see that? All right, so today I just want to share, like I said, my path to being a rich social worker. And rich for me definitely includes money. But not only does it include money, it includes freedom to travel, and it includes a schedule that I get to make up myself. It includes the ability to, connect with people when I'd like to and where I'd like to. So, and to do what I want to do, not because I have to do something. So, when I talk about the path to rich social work domination, I'm not just talking about money, but I'm absolutely including it. And I think that a lot of times what we as social workers do is we've kind of been trained and even brainwashed to um, to not include the monetary aspect of wealth, and that's unfortunate. We talk a lot about how oh, social work is such a fulfilling profession, but we don't actually acknowledge that even though it's a fulfilling profession, we need to make more money. We say it, but it seems like not anyone has figured out how to do that. That's not true. There are several wealthy social workers, but for one reason or another, they're not talking about how they built their wealth or sharing lessons on the path, which is okay. That's what I'm here for. So let's talk a little bit more about what this path to rich social work domination looks like. Now, many people will ask, why rich social worker? Why, Eva, uh, are you championing this cause? Thank you very much. And is there such a thing as a rich social worker? It's so funny because a lot of times when I say rich social worker, people will laugh. And the people that get it, I think, laugh in support, but many other people will laugh in disbelief. And why not? When you ask why rich social worker, the real question is why not? Why do we not have a rich social worker alliance? Why isn't that something that's just the status quo? Why is it such an anomaly to hear those two words together, those three words together, rich and social worker? So I want to just share with you a little bit about my journey. Um, I got a bachelor's of social work degree from Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. Now, I have two degrees in social work, not only a BSW, but I also have an MSSW from Columbia University. And if you don't know about Columbia, Columbia is actually the oldest school of social work in the world, the oldest official school of social work in the world. So um, it's a I've got great pedagogy from Columbia University. Really great program, met great people, great curriculum. And I remember saying in one of my classes, you know, aren't you, I said to my classmates, don't you expect to be rich? And I was challenged on that for the first time. And they said, of course you can go to Columbia and still have a job and be poor as a social worker. And I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. Why would you do this? But as I thought more about it, I thought, well, social work really isn't about the money. So it almost doesn't matter where you get your degree from, right? And after that, a few years after that, I ended up moving to Jamaica. I have family in Jamaica. My grandmother was living there at the time. And I decided to move because, as a matter of fact, I love to travel. And my major in graduate school, I should say my focus, was working in the international arena. So the move to Jamaica for me was perfect. It was familiar enough to be safe, but unfamiliar enough to be a new adventure. And what ended up happening about 3 months after I moved, I actually started teaching social work at a university nearby. And I eventually became the head of the social work program at Northern Caribbean University. And after doing that for about 6.5 years, yeah, I just wasn't happy. I felt a bit stifled. And if you're a social worker, you may understand or have the bent like me to kind of be out in the field. That's what we're trained to do, to be out in the field. And I found the classroom after a while, it wasn't so much the classroom, it was the bureaucracy and the grading papers and all of those other things, to be a bit more cumbersome than what I wanted to continue to subject myself to at the time. So I left. But I left because there were social workers who I had taught that were saying to me, "Hey, Miss Ford, there are no jobs. Where do we find positions and how do we get into work?" And so I felt like, since I was a senior social worker in the program and on the island, and since I possibly did have more connections than my graduating students, that it would be a great idea for me, it would be a win-win for me to actually, um, network and start a company that would help social workers, and also where I could spread my social work wings again and be in the community, networking with NGOs and businesses that needed our skills. Um, but that was uh, a labor intensive, it was a labor of love, because what I didn't know at the time was that I knew nothing about starting or running a business. And I ended up spending all my money and spinning my wheels, really. And it got so bad, if you've read my story or heard my story, that, at one point I had no electricity, I had no running water, um, and I had to sell my car. Well, that was after it was impounded. I had to sell my car, and I was really feeling kind of hopeless and down on my luck. I had no money, had no prospects, and absolutely no answers, and I really just didn't know what to do. And I began to read self-help books. I began to read. I made a really big investment that flopped. And what I learned from that investment was that I did not know anything about money, money management, finances, budgeting. I knew nothing. And I decided that I was a social worker and I could figure it out, because that's what we do. We figure it out. And so I started to read self-help books, financial self-help books, business books, anything that would just kind of fill in the gaps for me that I knew that I had, but I didn't know what they were. And as I began to do that more and more, my life really began to turn around. And the thing that I realized is that, we as social workers, we're great at many, many, many things, but money is not generally one of them. And I learned this as I was reading these books, because many of the concepts that I heard and read in these books were totally foreign to me. They were totally new. And it wasn't any information that other people didn't have access to, or that we didn't have access to. It's just information that we didn't study, information that no one ever taught us, information that we didn't learn. And I think when we're in school, the most we talk about money is, we might talk about money for budgeting for our clients, helping our clients to budget, or of course we're going to talk about what it takes to write a grant, but we're not necessarily talking about building wealth or building sustainable solutions. Yes, we may talk about sustainability in terms of resources, but we don't necessarily include money in those resources, or we don't necessarily know the strategy of how to include money in that process. So reading really opened my eyes and helped me to understand that I was clueless, which was good, because at least if you know that you don't know, then you can learn and you can fill in the gaps. All right. Now, the thing that we are really good at, though, is we're good at helping people, giving advice, motivating people, and coaching people. And there's a quote here I have from Peter Carroll that says, "Each person holds so much power within themselves that needs to be let out. Sometimes they just need a little nudge, a little direction, a little support, a little coaching, and the greatest things can happen." And for me, that coaching has been kind of like the answer and the quickest path to my rich social work success. And let me tell you a little bit about how this is or why this is. You know, again, as social workers, we know and we understand that many of our clients, if they just come in for one session, we're probably not going to see the change, and they're not going to experience the change that we would like to see, or they're not going to experience the change that they would like to experience. And that's because a lot of times, you know, life is complicated and the situations are complicated. And so it takes it takes an understanding and an assessment of the situation initially, of course, but then it takes time to really unravel and not only get to the bottom of what the real issues are, but to implement solutions. So the thing that we do with social work is we assess and we form a treatment plan generally. Or if you're working on a meso or macro level, then you're writing a proposal of some sort, or you're doing a project of some sort. But the great thing about coaching is that you're focusing much less on the problem and much more on the solution. Let's talk about that a little bit. You get to the advantages of moving into coaching if you are a social worker is that you get to use your existing skills. Now, believe it or not, well, I'm sure you'll believe it, but your existing skills are not just sanctioned to what you learn in social work school. I have a client right now who I'm working with in our um, Rich Social Worker Coaching Program who is becoming a relationship coach because her social work skills, she's using her social work skills, of course, to relate to others and to quickly identify needs. But she's also using her skills in relationship. She's got a great relationship and she's gotten this great relationship through trial and error. But when you begin a coaching program or when you begin coaching, you get to use not only your social work skills, but your likes, your desires, the things that you keep saying that you're going to get to as soon as you have time to get to them. So you get to use your existing skills. That's great. Coaching is also solution focused. And you know exactly what I mean when I say solution focused. And the great thing about being solution focused is that you don't have to spend so much time digging up why a problem exists. You can spend the bulk of your time helping your clients move forward. And that's something that just works more for me. Now, if you are a therapist, that's fine. What you can do is you can still parlay your existing skills into a therapy coaching program. And we could talk about that a little later, but that can be set up in different ways. You could coach therapists on how to set up their own therapy program if you have one. You could coach or do different training. You could coach people who are now in therapy. When you realize that they no longer need intensive therapy, you could move into coaching with them. Of course, if you're going to do that, you would have to have some clear guidelines about how you do that. But again, it's solution focused. That just seems to fit better for me and my personality. I don't love to stay with problems. I love to look at how to move forward. The other great thing about coaching is that it is easily, that is the wrong word. It says magnetizable. It should say, that's spell check for you. It should say monetizable. So, you know, coaching is in high demand these days. And as you develop a coaching program, you are able to monetize easily, very easily, the existing skills and your solutions that you're already using, I bet, with another organization. Now, there's nothing wrong with working with an organization that provides social services. That's exactly, what social workers are trained to do. But there's also nothing wrong about moving into coaching or private work because you have the skills to do that as well. So I want you to keep these in mind and hopefully I'm making the case for uh, actually starting a coaching program. And even if you don't know how to start a coaching program, that is okay. That's what I'm here for. I started a few, and they're lots of fun. I love them. And if you've ever run a group, that's exactly what a coaching program looks like. It looks like a group, and you can fix it the way you want. You can have a coaching program of 3 people. You can have a coaching program of 300 people. It really just depends on how you plan to set it up. Now, how do you move into coaching? That is the question. Does that guy look like Ryan Gosling? I think so. All right. So ask yourself 4 questions. This is all you're going to do. You're going to ask yourself, what am I good at? Now, you're not just going to ask yourself that question. You're going to ask your friends. You're going to ask people that know you. You're going to ask people that you spend time with. You're going to ask your Facebook friends. You're going to ask your students if you teach. You're going to ask your relatives. Of course, the ones you're talking to. You're going to ask that question, what am I good at? And do a skills inventory of the things that you're good at. The thing that I hear people say over and over about me is that I am extremely motivating, which I think is cool. I don't know that I would have thought that about myself initially. So it's been good to do that skills inventory and to ask people what they thought and to see people who've never met each other and who may never ever meet each other all say the same thing. Eva, you are motivating, you're energetic, you're exciting. So that gives me an idea of what I'm good at. I'm good at motivating people. I'm good at energizing people. I'm good at helping people to see things in a way that maybe they wouldn't have seen them before, which is great for them. So that's great for me to know as well. Then you want to ask the question, what do I love? Now, where this is going is that where these 4 intersect is kind of like your sweet spot, right? It's kind of like what you're meant to do. So I'll use myself as an example. I already said what I'm good at. I'm good at motivating, energizing people. And the thing that I love lots of things, but I love social work. I really do. Ever since I say I found social work, which was in the end of my sophomore year in college. And then I went away to Taiwan. But since I found social work, I've been in love since day one. It's a profession for me that allows me to be myself just better. It challenges me to be self-aware. It encourages me into more self-development. And it just helps me to be a better person. And, I get to help people in the process. So I love social work. I really do. I love working with people. I love helping people move forward in their lives. So combine that with what I'm good at. I'm good at energizing and motivating, and I love social work and helping motivate and energize people and help them move forward in their lives. Now, the third one is, what do I not love? Or what do I hate? Hate is kind of a strong word, so I didn't put that there, but it could very well be there. If you've ever heard of Darren Hardy, he is the publisher of Success Magazine. I was watching a video of his, and he said something that I thought was so profound. He said, when you're looking for your passion, a lot of people will tell you, do what you love, do what you love. Or what do you love? They'll ask you that question. And if you don't know what you love, you might feel like you're not passionate about anything. But he said for him, it wasn't so much that he loved, editing a magazine, but, and like I said, he's the editor in chief of Success Magazine. But he looked at what he hated or what he did not love. And what he hated and what he did not love is he hated the, he hated bad news. He hated the emphasis on negativity. He hated terrible reporting. And he said that it was his passion or his hate against this derogatory, negative kind of information that propelled him to really make success a success. So for me, going back to me now, what did I not love or what did I hate? I hated being broke. So let's go through this again with what we have so far. You're going to ask yourself these four questions, but so far 3 questions. You're going to ask yourself, what am I good at? And like I said, for me, I got that skills inventory from asking friends and relatives what I was good at. I'm good at motivating. I'm good at energizing. Second question, what do I love? I love social work. I love helping people move forward in their lives. What do I not love? I don't love being broke. I don't love that. I hate it. And the last question is, how many people can I help? That's the question you want to ask yourself, because answering that question is going to help you to leverage all of these other skills. And actually, that question is probably better phrased, how can I help the most people? How can I help the most people as opposed to how many people can I help? Because what answering that question will do, how can I help the most people? What that will do is it will help you to think about your skills and what you have to offer in a benevolent way and in a way that, again, helps the most people with the least amount of effort on your part. Not that you're not going to put in effort, but you're definitely not going to kill yourself. All right? So when I combine these 4, for me, what am I good at? What do I love? What do I not love or what do I hate? And how can I help the most people? Then I was able to streamline these answers into a coaching program for social workers, because I love social workers, that helps to motivate them because I'm good at that, and helps to encourage them and guide them to be rich social workers because I don't like being broke. And helping the most people is just having more than one person on the phone or in the program at a time. So I can help the most people by putting them together in one fell swoop. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense, and I hope I'm making a good argument for you to start your own coaching program, because it's so freeing and it's so much fun. And, again, you get to utilize your skills. Now, this is the process. Let's talk about the process of becoming a rich social worker. We've gone so far through the questions that you need to ask yourself. So now let's look at what it really entails. Now, no need for the drum roll because I've pretty much just given you the whole formula right here. The process of becoming a rich social worker is basically boils down to these 2 things. You're going to find your ideal customers, the ideal clients, the people who you would most want to work with, your ideal prospects. You're going to find them, you're going to interview them to find out where their pain point is, respective to what you can, the solution that you can provide. And then you provide a solution to solve their problem. That's it. That's really the magic to it. And I know that doesn't sound very technical and it doesn't sound very, maybe academic or very monumental, or doesn't sound like it's $1 million idea, but trust me, it is. I've made thousands of dollars. I'm not a millionaire yet. Doing this very thing, this very formula, because I've interviewed dozens and dozens of social workers, and I found out, relative to my area of expertise, what their pain point was. And you may be one of those social workers that I interviewed, or you may know someone that I interviewed. But I asked the question, what is your pain? And then I solved it. So I just told you that I created a coaching program for social workers to make more money and to start a business, right? So you can kind of guess what my questions were, kind of, right? Because the answers to those questions are what fueled my, what should I say? What fueled my solution, okay? So when I interviewed social workers, I found out that relative to aligning their personal and professional goals, they wanted more money. No surprise there, right? They wanted more time, they wanted more freedom, and they wanted more money. That's basically it. Everybody wanted more money. I don't think there was one person that said they didn't want more money. Now, if you are a parenting coach, that may not likely be the answer that you get. Parents might not say the first thing they want is more money. They might say what they want is tools to help control their child's behavior. Or they might say something else. So for the interviews that I did, I got all the same answers pretty much. Everybody wanted money, time, and freedom. Don't we all? Now, in providing the solution, looks like ensuring your potential client that you have the solution, that you know exactly what they're going through, and you know exactly how to help them move forward. Now, what do you think someone would charge for your services? What do you think someone would pay, for your services? You think they pay $50 or $100? Or do you think they pay $300 or $500? I don't care what it is. What do you think people would pay for your services? Do you think they'd pay $5,000 or $10,000? So the truth is, to answer all of those questions, yes, people will pay whatever you ask them to pay if you're not willing to haggle the price down. And you don't want people that haggle your price down anyway, because chances are they're not going to be the committed ones, and they're going to be the ones that want to try to, get by with the least amount of effort. You could tell because they tried to get by with you with the least amount of effort. So what you want to do is you want to find people, like I said, find your ideal customers, but you want to provide solutions to their problems. And that's really it. Like I said, for me, my solution is a coaching program where I take people through the Rich Social Worker Coaching Program. It's a 6-month program, and we help people to get their messaging together. We help them decide on what type of coaching practice they want to start, and we also help them to move into the business that they want. We help them to get clients. We help them from the very beginning to find the clients that they want, to attract those clients, to seal the deal, as it were, so that the payment for those clients goes through. And we help them to get people on their email list, to get an email list, get people on their email list. So there's quite a lot of involvement that goes on in the Rich Social Worker Coaching Program. But I guarantee you, at the end of this program, all of the social workers who are in that program will have a business. If they're doing the assignments and keeping in touch with me, which most of them are, they're going to have a coaching practice. That's just how it goes. So I want to just close this for now and ask if there are any questions. If there are any questions, let me know. I'm open, happy to happy to entertain any questions that you might have. And if not, I tell you what, we will we're gonna close for today. Let me just make sure that no one signed on that I'm not seeing in our members area. Now, if you're interested in the coaching program, just shoot me a line. Just let me know that you're interested or you'd like to hear more information about it. I'm always really excited to share with people because, like I said, it's, my journey has not been a an easy one. However, it's been extremely rewarding and fulfilling because I've been able to learn from my mistakes, and I've been able to monetize my learning. So I really feel like I really know what I have to offer, and I feel great about being able to offer it to people in a way that feels authentic and right to me. Um, all right. So, like I said, if you're interested in learning more about the coaching program, let me know. We're opening up slots for June, and just letting people know from now. While I'm in town, I'm in Alabama at the moment. So while I'm in town, we're going to be having some. We're gonna have some people. Sorry, we're going to have some live events and let people know how they can get into the program as well. So I know I see people on the call, but I don't see any questions. You can type your questions into the group chat, or you can, I tell you what, you can email me. And I can, let's see, if you email me, if you email eva@evaford.com, I'm going to go to that email right now and I'm going to see if anyone has any questions, because it's possible that you are not getting through on the Hangout, and that's okay. Any questions or comments? That's okay. All right, so I don't see any questions right now. So I tell you what, for today, we are going to close, but I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you've gained some sort of knowledge, and I hope you've been convinced that you can have a coaching program and you can have a thriving coaching program. Like I said, people will pay whatever you ask them to because you've asked them to. Um, it never ceases to amaze me how much money there actually is in the world, that many of us we're just not, we're taking it, we just don't, we don't take it for ourselves. What do I want to say? We don't claim it for ourselves. And you totally can. You absolutely can. My goal for this year, and I am on track for my goal for this year, is to pull in $10,000 per month. And I'm absolutely on track to do that. And you can be doing that too. And I can help you do that if you'd like some more help. So like I said, thank you guys so much for being here and listening in. Feel free to get at me during the week. You can always email me at eva@evaford.com, or you can Facebook me. I've got the Rich Social Worker face page. I think it's Eva Ford as well, the fan page, the business page. Or just, yeah, shoot me up on Facebook. Shoot me up. That doesn't sound right, but you get what I mean. So thanks guys for being here. Share this with all your friends, and I'll see you next week. Until then, to your rich social work success. Bye, everybody. Bye.